Okay, you should have your paper copy and a highlighter and a pencil. And you can complete it on the paper, then go back in and complete it on the screen. So please pause it when you need to and rewind if you need to. Make sure that you take your time and really think about these answers. The rainbow in the sky. When was the last time you saw a rainbow? A rainbow forms an arc in the sky when light from the sun passes through a raindrop. When beams of sunlight pass through droplets of water, the light is refracted. Refraction is the bending of light when it passes through an object. The beams of sunlight are separated at different angles, which form the rainbow that we see. The beams of light from the sun, though, are actually white. But when those beams happen to hit raindrops at a certain angle, the colors that make up the beams separate so that we can see them in the form of a rainbow. The result is a beautiful display of colors: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. Each color of the rainbow has a different wavelength. Red, the first color, has the longest wavelength and usually appears on the outer part of the rainbow's arc. Violet has the shortest wavelength and appears on the innermost arc. Even though we may think we see the same rainbow, its appearance depends on where someone is standing. In fact, no one actually sees, scroll down. In fact, no one actually sees the same rainbow. Because no two people can stand in the exact same place at the same time, each person's view of a rainbow will be different. Rainbows can also be seen when it's not raining at all. You may see a rainbow near fog, at the beach in the ocean spray, or at a waterfall. You can even create a rainbow at home. All you need is sunshine and a garden hose with a spray nozzle. You could also use a sprinkler. The mist creates many tiny drops of water for the sun to pass through. This shows us how light and water combine to make a rainbow appear. See figure 1. And here's figure 1. You can also create a rainbow by using a prism. A prism is a small transparent shape. In 1665, Isaac Newton, a young scientist in England, was very interested in learning more about light and colors. One day, Newton discovered that when a sunbeam passes through a glass prism, the prism bends each wavelength of light at different angles. The result is that the light creates an effect similar to a rainbow when it passes through the prism. This display of light is called a spectrum. See figure 2. So there's figure 2. So the next time you see a rainbow, whether after a rain or through the light of a prism, consider it a light show made just for you. After all, no one else will see it the very same way. Question 1. What does figure 1 help the reader understand? So you will need to look back on your paper. We have the measurable distance needed between the sun and mist to form a rainbow. Light and water can combine to form a rainbow. A rainbow can form when it is not raining if the right conditions are present. A rainbow always appears with rain. Question 2. The directions say click 2 correct answers. How is light refracted? Each color of the rainbow has a different wavelength. Sunbeams pass through a glass prism. Beams of sunlight pass through droplets of water. An arc is formed in the sky. The result is a beautiful display of colors. So I would encourage you to look back, skim for keywords, and see if you can find it in there. Number 3, directions. Click and drag the correct question to the box. Complete this cause and effect chart. So we have an empty box, and then you have these choices that you will need to click and drag to the empty box. Then we have an arrow pointing up here. The prism bends each wavelength of light. There's an arrow pointing here. A spectrum is visible. Top to bottom. Raindrops pass through a glass prism. Second one, Isaac Newton studied light and colors. Light passes through a glass prism. A prism is transparent. Question 4. Click and drag the answers to the correct box. Put the steps in order to show how a prism is used. We have sunlight passes through the glass. The prism manipulates the light. A spectrum forms the different angles. Put them in the correct order in the boxes. Question 5. Which 2 questions are answered in this text? What color are the beams from the sun? Why are rainbows shaped like an arc? Where are rainbows most commonly seen? What time of day do you mostly see rainbows? Question 6. Complete the cause and effect chart. Cause. Beams of light from the sun hit raindrops at a certain angle. Effect. From top to bottom we see the light in the form of a rainbow. Violet has the shortest wavelength. Red has the longest wavelength. The colors that make up the beam separate. Question 7. The heading, Rainbows Everywhere, would best fit which paragraph? A, 1, B, 2, C, 4, D, 5. Question 8. Which detail supports the main idea of paragraph 4? A. This display of light is called a spectrum. B. A prism is a small transparent shape. C. The mist creates many tiny drops of water for the sun to pass through. D. All you need is sunshine and a garden hose with a spray nozzle. Choose the 3 correct answers. According to the passage, what are 3 alternative ways for a rainbow to form? Use a garden hose with a spray nozzle. Stand in a different location. Use a prism. Reflect sunlight with a mirror. Use a sprinkler. Question 10. Select the correct answers. Which 3 statements does figure 2 help the reader to understand? The prism bends each wavelength of light at different angles. You can create a rainbow by using a prism. A rainbow forms an arc in the sky when light from the sun passes through a raindrop. Refraction is the bending of light when it passes through an object. This shows us how light and water combine to make a rainbow appear. Question 11. Read the sentence. The fresh produce in the grocery store was very colorful. Which sentence uses the word produce in the same way? A. The lawyer was unable to produce evidence during the case. B. Sam has to produce a science project by next week. C. The farmer sells his produce at the farmer's market every weekend. D. My brother likes to produce plays and films. Question 12. Read a definition of the word. Story. 1A. A set of rooms on the same floor or level of a building. Which sentence uses the word story to show the meaning given? A. The second story of the school caught on fire. B. Mrs. Niles had a creative story contest in her writing class. C. Every day Hugh tells a funny story about his dog at the lunch table. D. The story of my life is that I break a bone every year. Question 13. Directions. You do not need to read a passage to answer the question. Read the following sentence. The teacher completed a model assignment to show the students how to complete their work independently. Which definition fits the use of the word model in this sentence? A. A standard that is worthy of imitation or comparison. B. A representation or copy, often smaller than the original. C. A style or design of a particular product. D. A person employed to display clothing by wearing it. Okay. Make sure you have all your work shown on your test paper, and you can go into A&A and type in your answers.